Hello everybody, welcome to my Feather the Redeemed EDH deck. So Feather the Redeemed is a 3 mana, 3/4 legendary angel with flying, and she reads, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard, as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So Feather the Redeemed is a very cool commander, and you can use it as kind of a Voltron approach, but at the end, when all your opponents are really low, you can do some storm effects to hopefully finish them off. So let's get right into it. So the first card is Racking Claws. So this is a 2-mana instant that gives target creature double strike until end of turn, but it also has cycling for 2. Psychotic Fury is a 2-mana instant that gives target multicolored creature double strike until end of turn. This card also allows you to draw a card. Temur Battle Rage is a 2-mana instant that gives target creature double strike until end of turn. It also has the Ferocious ability that gives target creature trample until end of turn, and if you get a controlled creature with power 4 or greater. The next card is Expedite. So Expedite is a 1 red mana instant that gives target creature haste until end of turn. Then you draw a card. Crimson Wisps is a 1 red mana instant that allows you that gives target creature red and gains haste until end of turn. And then you draw a card. Defiant Strike is 1 white mana for an instant that gives target creature +1/+0 until end of turn. Then you draw a card. So what I like about these cards that allow you to draw cards is that they all target your creatures, so you can just gain a ton of card draw using Feather's ability, because they always come back every turn. God's Willing is a 1 white mana instant that gives target creature you control protection of the color of your choice until end of turn. Then you scry 1. Shelter is 2 mana for an instant that gives target creature you control protection of the color of your choice until end of turn. Then you draw. Sheltering Light is 1 white mana for an instant that gives target creature you control, or just target creature indestructible until end of turn. Then you scry 1. So all these cards can help protect Feather, or if you have another valuable creature on the battlefield. Infuriate is 1 red mana for an instant that gives target creature +3/+2 until end of turn. Titan Strength is 1 red mana for an instant that gives target creature +3/+1 until end of turn. Then you scry 1. Samut's Sprint is 1 red mana for an instant that gives target creature +2/+1, and it gives it haste until end of turn. Then you scry 1. Built to Smash is 1 red mana for an instant that gives target attacking creature +3/+3 until end of turn, but if it's an artifact, it also gains trample until end of turn. Most of the time, Feather will not be an artifact, or in this deck list, she will never be an artifact. But it's still a good card because it's 1 mana for +3/+3 power. Double Cleave is 1 and a Boros hybrid mana for an instant that gives target creature double strike until end of turn. Brute Force is a 1 red mana instant that gives target +3/+3 until end of turn. Reckless Charge is 1 red mana for a sorcery that gives target creature +3/+0 until end of turn and haste. It also has flashback for 3, but we won't be using that very often. Seething Anger is 1 red mana for a sorcery that has buyback for 3, but it also gives target creature +3/+0 until end of turn. Assault Strobe is 1 red mana for a sorcery that gives target creature double strike until end of turn. Aurelia the War Leader is 2 generic mana, 2 red mana, and 2 white mana for a 3/4 angel with flying, vigilance, and haste. And whenever she attacks for the first time each turn, you untap all your creatures, and there's an additional attack phase after that current attack phase. Gisela Blade of Gold Knight is 7 mana, so 4 generic, 1 red, and 2 white for a 5/5 angel with flying and first strike. And it reads, if a source would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, that source deals double that damage to that player or permanent instead. And then if a source would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent half that damage rounded up. So this card is a very powerful card in the deck, and it can make Feather deal a lot more damage and make you take a lot less damage if you don't have a lot of creatures to block. Krenko Tin Street Kingpin is 3 mana, 2 and a red, for a 1/2 goblin, which reads whenever Krenko Tin Street Kingpin attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Krenko's power. So I think that this card's really fun because if you want, for one turn, instead of pumping up Feather, you can just pump up Krenko and then get a ton of goblins for blockers. Or if your opponents are low on creatures, you can just attack with the goblins for the win. Thermal Alchemist is a 2 mana 0/3 human shaman with Defender. You can tap him to deal 1 damage to each opponent, but whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, untap Thermal Alchemist. So you can use this to deal 1 damage to each opponent every time that you cast an instant or a sorcery. Say you're casting 5 instants and sorceries every turn, that deals a lot of damage over time. Electrostatic Field is very similar to the Thermal Alchemist, but it's a little bit more simple to understand. So it's 2 mana for a wall with Defender, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. But it's an 0/4. Gutter Snipe is a 3 mana 2/2 Goblin Shaman, which reads whenever you cast an instant or a sorcery spell, Gutter Snipe deals 2 damage to each opponent. Aura of Flame is a 3 mana enchantment that reads when Aura of Flame enters the battlefield, each opponent gains 10 life. And whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a verse counter on Aura of Flame, then it deals damage equal to the number of verse counters on it to target player or planeswalker. So this card's insanely powerful because the 10 life that your opponents are gaining isn't very relevant to how much damage they're going to be taking afterwards. Aetherflux Reservoir is a 4 mana artifact that reads whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn. Then you can pay 50 life to make it deal 50 damage to target creature or player. So this card's really good because, yet again, like the Aura of Flame, if you cast a lot of instants and sorceries, then you can gain a lot of life and then hopefully start lasering down your opponents. Grapeshot is a 2 mana sorcery that deals 1 damage to target creature or player and has Storm. That means that if you cast a lot of instants and sorceries before you cast Grapeshot, you should be able to deal a ton of damage to all of your opponents. Otherworldly Journey is a 2 mana instant that's an arcane, and you can exile target creature at the beginning of the next end step, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Cloud Shift is a 1 white mana instant that it exiles target creature you control, then it returns it to the battlefield under your control. Justicular's Portal is a 2 mana instant that exiles target creature you control, then returns it to the battlefield under its owner's control, then it gains first strike. Long Road Home is a 2 mana instant that exiles target creature, and at the beginning of the next end step, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Ephemerate is a 1 white mana instant that exiles target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. This card also has Rebound, so you can cast it again for free. Settle Beyond Reality is a 5 mana sorcery that it reads choose one or both. Exile target creature that you don't control, and exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. So, you can use the second ability to hopefully protect Feather, but the first ability, you can just start shooting down your opponent's creatures, but you always get the spell back because with the second ability, you'd be targeting Feather. So that's targeting a creature you control, therefore you put it back into your hand. So that way you exile it with Feather and then you get it back. Soul's Fire is a 3 mana instant that reads target creature you control, deals damage equal to its power to any target. Fall of the Hammer is a 2 mana instant that reads target creature you control, deals damage equal to its power to another target creature. Reckless Rage is a 1 mana instant that reads Reckless Rage, deals 4 damage to target creature you control, and 2 damage to target creature you control. So with this, you deal 2 damage to Feather, but then you deal 4 damage to target creature you don't control. Tragic Arrogance is a 5 mana sorcery, and it reads for each player, choose from among them the permanents that player controls: an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker. Then that each player sacrifices all other non-land permanents he or she controls. Urza's Ruinous Blast is a 5-mana legendary sorcery that exiles all non-land permanents that aren't legendary. Single Combat is a 5-mana sorcery which reads: each player chooses a creature or planeswalker they control, then sacrifices the rest. Players can't cast creature or planeswalker spells until the end of your next turn. Open the Armory and Steelshaper's Gift can both search out an equipment card from your library, then it can put it into your hand. Using Magnetic Theft with both of these cards, you can equip it right away. So Open the Armory costs 2 and the other 2 cost 1. So these are some of the cards that you can get with Open the Armory and Steelshaper's Gift. So the first one is Grafted Exoskeleton. So this is a 4-mana artifact that gives creature +2/+2 and infect. And then whenever it becomes unattached from a permanent, sacrifice it. Embercleave is a 6-mana legendary equipment with flash, and it costs 1 less for each attacking creature you control. Then when it enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. And then equipped creature has +1/+1, double strike, and trample. Sunforger is a 3-mana equipment that reads: equipped creature gets +4/+0. You can also pay Boros to unattach it and search your library for a red or white instant or sorcery card with converted mana cost 4 or less, and cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then shuffle your library. It has the small equip cost of 3. So that brings us to the end of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.